Good morning. Welcome back to the Countdown to Ironman Lake Placid video series. We are 22 weeks out from the race. Today, I'd like to just go over what training looked like for the week and then get into, we're going to stick with the bike course today and talk about some aerodynamic considerations when you're thinking about approaching the bike course. Okay, quickly here. Week in review. We are again 22 weeks out. Had a good week of training. Um, we had a snowstorm in our area, so it did kind of mess up our schedules a little bit. But we were able to get training in every day. I didn't log anything here on Monday, but I had kind of a recovery workout and was able to execute on that. So despite the shifting of schedules, what else is new? I'm sure we're all going through that. We were able to get things done consistently, which is great. So this is 22 weeks out from Ironman Lake Placid. We are actually coming up to President's Day weekend. That's when this video is going to be published. And one thing that I just wanted to share is that this we kind of consider the unofficial end to the base period of training for a late July race like Ironman Lake Placid. Until now, we've been doing a lot of aerobic work, not too much in the way of intervals. And listen, everybody's training is totally different, but I kind of think of it as like we all know that we all consider Memorial Day to be the kickoff to summer. That's sort of this kind of line in the sand. Well, to me, President's Day weekend is kind of a similar kickoff uh, to move from the base period to really more of a build period. What that looks like in our household is we're still going to be training consistently, but we're going to try to, number one, increase the volume, and number two, we're going to start to slowly add in some intensity, especially on the bike. At this point, we have a tendency to hold off adding intensities in on the run a little while longer, just because there's a high risk of getting injured. But this also is kind of a good time to just take a little break and get ready for those next steps. And from here on out, the weeks really kind of get bigger and bigger, and we are starting the build period. So we're starting to really stack on larger and more intense sessions, really from here on out. So we'll talk a lot more about that in videos to come. But I hope everybody, and I think most are going to be in a similar boat to us. But enjoy the President's Day weekend and maybe have a little bit of a mental break because here we go. We're getting into the build phase. All right, next I want to talk about some aerodynamic considerations for the bike. All right, and we are back here with the bike course. Today, I just want to go over some things to think about when we're looking at aerodynamic improvements on our bikes, which we're 22 weeks out right now, but this usually becomes kind of a big topic of conversation right before the race when everyone's looking for a little bit more speed. But I think it's more useful to think about this actually right now as we enter the build phase of our training. And really, some of us going to be getting outside again in the next couple of months, or maybe you're already outside, depending on where you live. So let's talk about, though, aerodynamics in general. First and foremost, they are 100% real. Over the distance of an Ironman, it will 100% make a real difference in your bike time. So this is something you should pay attention to. The problem with a lot of these aerodynamic improvements is that they come at a cost. So if money is no object, just go for it. Make the improvements. Add the wheels, add the helmets, integrate hydration, whatever you need to do. If money is no object, just go for it. It's going to make you faster. Okay. But what it really comes down to for a lot of people, and myself and my wife are 100% in this boat, is listen, we already spend a lot of money on this sport. The question is, can you justify spending even more to get those aerodynamic upgrades? And is it really going to be worth it? So what I want to talk about here is just your aerodynamic expectations for the Ironman Lake Placid bike course. Not all Ironman courses are alike, okay? Let's take an aerodynamic upgrade to your bike, like race wheels, for example. Race wheels, if you were to go and get a really aerodynamic setup, something very common I've seen is that it could save you 10 minutes over the course of your Ironman race. I think that is 100% accurate for a lot of courses out there. Take, Ironman Maryland, Ironman Arizona, Ironman Florida, where you can really be in those going at those higher speeds for longer periods of time without much up and down. But this course is a little different. So what I want to do quickly here is just let's walk through the course and just kind of talk it out where we'll get those benefits on this course. Again, if you're thinking about spending the money, you should know what the benefit is. So we start here in Lake Placid and we kind of do a bunch of climbing and then up and down out to Cascade Pass. Okay. This is grinding up. You're going at generally speaking, a slower speed. I don't feel there's a huge aerodynamic. I don't think aerodynamic improvements are going to lead to a huge benefit in this part of the course. Next part of the course is we have our descent down to Keene, from Cascade to Keene, which we talked about last week. This is an area where the aerodynamic improvements that you make are going to make you go a lot faster. But here's the thing with this part of the course. For the vast majority of us, myself included, you're already going at a speed that you're uncomfortable with. I end up playing this a little bit conservatively, and I'm still flying. So even though, yes, you'll see those aerodynamic benefits, you're probably going to be, hitting the brakes. So what's the point of even having them in the first place? So I don't actually count this section of the bike course as having that much of an aerodynamic benefit unless you're really willing to go super fast. And again, you have a risk reward there. Next is the section from Keene out to Jay. You are going to see a huge aerodynamic benefit in this part of the course. It is relatively flat, just a couple of small hills, and you can fly in this part of the course. You'll see a big benefit from all those aero improvements. Jay, up to the turn here. Again, this is a grinding uphill. You'll be going relatively slow, not too much benefit. You will see a big aerodynamic benefit on this out and back, okay, on this road towards Blackbrook. And then what you do is you start the big climb back past Whiteface up to the pass. Again, a lot of uphill. You're not going to be going very fast. I don't see that you're going to have very much aerodynamic benefit in that part of the course. Last part of the course here is the pitch tames off quite a bit, and you are going to be. It is uphill, but you can still be an aero, and you can still make some good pacing up there. So I do think that you'll see an aerodynamic benefit on this kind of last part of the course back to Lake Placid. What does this mean and why am I even bringing this up? I consider this course, about 50% of this course, to have a significant aerodynamic benefit. So if you are looking to make the financial decision to purchase, say, race wheels for a couple $1,000s, and they're saying they're going to save you maybe 10 minutes over the course of your Ironman, I might cut that in half. Maybe that's more like 5 minutes. And then when you think about adding in, add the helmet, add the whatever it may be, right? Think about kind of like a 50% return on whatever the aerodynamic benefit that product is claiming as you really start to think about your race and how it breaks down for this Ironman bike course. Again, others will be completely different, but here, think of it as like a 50% return on whatever they're publishing. I think that's the right way to think about it for this course specifically. Okay, one more just piece of information about about aerodynamic improvements is if you're going to start to go down this road, the only advice that I have is don't go halfway, go all the way. If you're going to start considering aerodynamic benefits and aerodynamic improvements to your bike, start early. We're 22 weeks out right now. Start making those improvements right now. This isn't something we should be jumping into 2 weeks before the race, okay? And if you're going to spend the money to go all in on those deep dish, race wheels, then, don't be running gator skin tires that are going to slow you down. Go all the way. Make it fast all around. Okay. There's a lot of athletes out there that'll just maybe buy one component of this, and you don't really get the total benefit because aerodynamics is really additive. You're getting small benefits, and if you were just to adopt, say, one area of aerodynamic improvement, yeah, you'll get a small return on that. But is it really worthwhile? I say if you're going to make the commitment to do it, if you're going to spend the money, if you're making that decision, just go for it all the way and be consistent all around. I will say, and this is a real positive when it comes to aerodynamics, the number one thing you can do actually doesn't cost you any money. And that is to make sure that you can stay in an aerodynamic position and make sure that your core and your back and your arms are actually strong enough to hold an aerodynamic position for the entire bike ride. Doesn't matter if you buy the $3,000 wheel set, if you are chest up in the wind for your whole ride, you're going to go slowly. You're not going to be very aerodynamic on the course. Okay. So that's some low hanging fruit that you should probably just start with before you break out your wallet and start, spending your hard earned dollars and cents. We've already spent a lot of money in this sport. So be consistent all around. If you are going to go down this road, do it now. A lot of these aerodynamic benefits are a little bit fickle, and making sure that you have the right replacement tubes with the right stem height, all of that kind of stuff does actually make a fairly big difference. And you don't want to get caught unprepared on race day. All right, great. I hope you found this helpful. Think about it now, right? As we start to get into the build period here. And I hope it's helped.